What began as a peaceful protest spiraled into a night of chaos as parts of Los Angeles were engulfed in violence, fires, and confusion, leaving residents fearful and the city on edge. On the evening of June 9th, chaos unfolded across several districts in Los Angeles as a wave of civil unrest swept through the city. According to official reports from the Los Angeles Police Department, the situation escalated at approximately 7:45 p.m. local time, when initially peaceful protests in Pershing Square began to fracture, with isolated groups breaking away from the main crowd. Authorities recorded over 120 arrests in a span of just 5 hours. Charges included vandalism, unlawful assembly, assault on law enforcement officers, and looting. In addition, more than 30 businesses, ranging from local convenience stores to high-end retail outlets in the Fairfax district, suffered varying degrees of damage. LAPD Chief Dominic Hernandez confirmed that several officers were injured during the confrontations, with at least 2 requiring hospitalization due to blunt force trauma sustained from thrown objects. A massive blaze erupted shortly after 9:30 p.m. in a commercial warehouse near the Boyle Heights district, prompting a 3-alarm response from the Los Angeles Fire Department. It took nearly 4 hours to contain the flames, and while no casualties were reported, significant structural damage occurred. Officials have not yet determined whether the fire was related to the protests, though multiple eyewitness accounts claim they saw Molotov cocktails being thrown into the building moments before it ignited. Citywide infrastructure also took a hit. Sections of the Metro B or Red Line were shut down due to safety concerns, and traffic gridlock clogged major arteries, such as the 110 and 101 freeways, where demonstrators briefly blocked lanes in protest. The city's Emergency Operations Center was activated to Level 2 status by midnight, enabling more coordinated response across multiple agencies including the LAPD, LAFD, and the California Highway Patrol. In response to the escalating violence, Mayor Claudia Reyes issued a public statement declaring a state of emergency in Los Angeles County and authorized a curfew from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m., effective immediately and until further notice. The California National Guard was placed on standby alert, with armored vehicles seen stationed near City Hall by early Tuesday morning. Governor Gavin Newsom also weighed in, stating, "The violence is unacceptable and we will take every necessary step to protect the people of this state, while still defending their right to peacefully protest." Social media played a dual role in the night's events. While it served as a tool for real-time updates and safety alerts, it also became a flashpoint for misinformation. Several widely shared videos showed aggressive clashes between police and demonstrators, including footage of officers using rubber bullets and tear gas on what appeared to be non-violent crowds. LAPD has announced an internal review of use-of-force protocols following public backlash. Meanwhile, emergency rooms across the city reported a sharp rise in injury-related admissions, with many individuals treated for burns, inhalation injuries from tear gas, and blunt force wounds. Community organizers have set up pop-up aid stations to provide water, medical supplies, and legal aid for those affected by the night's events. While calm has since been partially restored, the events of Monday night mark one of the most violent urban disturbances in Los Angeles since the 1992 riots, raising deep concerns among civic leaders, law enforcement, and residents alike. City officials are now facing difficult questions about their preparedness and response, as criticisms emerge from multiple directions. Local advocacy groups such as the Los Angeles Justice Coalition and Voices for Housing have issued statements accusing the city of underestimating community tensions that had been building for weeks. Their spokespeople point to recent housing evictions, the spike in homelessness in Skid Row, and ongoing allegations of police misconduct as critical flashpoints ignored by city leadership. "We warned them. We told them communities were on the brink. This wasn't sudden, it was predictable. People are desperate and the city responded with more force instead of listening." Multiple city council members held an emergency press briefing early Tuesday morning. Councilmember Andre Patel from District 4 stated, "While we unequivocally condemn the violence and destruction, we must also acknowledge the conditions that created this moment. The social fabric of our city is fraying, and unless we invest in long-term reform, public safety, affordable housing, mental health services, we're going to keep seeing nights like this." Surveillance footage reviewed by the LAPD showed coordinated actions by masked individuals arriving in unmarked vehicles shortly before looting began in the Fairfax district. Police believe these individuals may not be affiliated with local protest groups but instead part of organized criminal networks exploiting the unrest. In a related development, LAPD confirmed the deployment of less lethal munitions throughout the night, including rubber bullets, beanbag rounds, and pepper balls. Medical personnel have expressed concern over the severity of injuries caused by these weapons. These are not non-lethal injuries, these are battlefield wounds. At least 14 journalists have reported incidents of harassment or injury while covering the protests, including national correspondents for NBC, the Los Angeles Times, and several freelance photographers. The Committee to Protect Journalists released a statement condemning what they describe as a concerning pattern of media suppression during civil unrest in United States cities. Emergency services remain stretched, with LAFD crews responding to more than 60 fire-related incidents between 6 p.m. and 3 a.m., and paramedics transporting over 80 injured individuals to nearby hospitals. The city's 911 call center logged over 8,000 calls, nearly triple its normal nightly volume. Public schools in affected neighborhoods remained closed Tuesday, and several universities including USC and UCLA issued alerts advising students and staff to avoid downtown and mid-city areas. Grocery stores, gas stations, and pharmacies experienced long lines and closures as residents prepared for potential continued disruptions. In total, damages from the night are already being estimated at over $25 million, according to early figures from the Office of Emergency Management. Business owners are now calling for both state and federal disaster relief, while community groups scramble to provide food and supplies to families caught in the turmoil. The unrest did not erupt in a vacuum. Analysts, community leaders, and longtime residents point to a confluence of social, economic, and political tensions that have been simmering for years, now intensified by a series of compounding crises. With homelessness in Los Angeles reaching an all-time high of over 75,000 people, the lack of affordable housing, rising inflation, and eroded trust in public institutions have created a volatile environment where even a small spark can ignite widespread upheaval. Many protesters who took to the streets Monday night had been rallying for tenant protections and emergency housing funding, part of an ongoing citywide movement demanding policy reform. The initial demonstration, organized by grassroots coalition Shelter First, aimed to pressure City Hall into halting mass evictions and expanding social safety nets. However, as dusk fell, the mood began to shift. Sociologist Dr. Kara Nguyen of UCLA, who studies urban protests and civic disorder, notes that this pattern follows a historical arc. When peaceful protests evolve into chaos, it's rarely just about the moment at hand. It's about layers of disenfranchisement. In LA, we've seen communities, especially Black and Latino neighborhoods, ignored, over-policed, and underserved. This eruption is a symptom of systemic fatigue. On the ground, the distinction between peaceful protesters and disruptive agitators blurred quickly. Eyewitnesses described conflicting scenes. On one block, families with signs calling for justice and housing reform. On the next, shattered windows, spray-painted messages, and police in riot gear. This isn't what we came out for. People want their voices heard, not their streets destroyed. In contrast, others argue that the destruction is itself a form of protest. When you've been ignored for this long, sometimes yelling doesn't work. Property can be rebuilt, lives can't. The role of law enforcement has become a lightning rod in the aftermath. Videos circulating online show LAPD officers using forceful tactics, including kettling protesters into confined areas and deploying tear gas near residential buildings. Civil liberties organizations have raised red flags, accusing the department of excessive force and failure to distinguish between non-violent demonstrators and criminal actors. Meanwhile, online platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok played a pivotal role in shaping the public's understanding of the chaos in real time. While many users broadcasted raw, unfiltered footage from the front lines, disinformation also spread quickly. False rumors about police-involved shootings and fabricated curfew notices contributed to confusion and panic. The city's official emergency alert system struggled to keep up, with many residents reporting they received curfew alerts only hours after they went into effect. Beyond the immediate damage, the psychological toll of the events is already becoming clear. Mental health clinics across Los Angeles have reported a surge in calls, especially from young people experiencing anxiety, fear, and emotional distress after witnessing the night's violence either in person or through digital media. Local nonprofits have begun deploying trauma counselors to affected communities, though, resources remain limited. As the city picks up the pieces, many are asking not just how this happened, but why the warning signs were ignored. The chaos of one night now serves as both a flashpoint and a mirror, reflecting a deeper societal unraveling that can no longer be postponed or denied. In the aftermath of the chaos, Los Angeles stands at a crossroads. Streets that just days ago bustled with the rhythm of city life now bear the scars of unrest, charred debris, shuttered storefronts, and a lingering atmosphere of uncertainty. Yet amid the physical wreckage lies a deeper fracture, one between the city's promises of progress and the lived reality of many of its residents. Mayor Claudia Reyes, speaking in a televised address Tuesday night, acknowledged both the destruction and the message beneath it. She said, "This is a city of dreams, but too many have been left out of the dream. If we want to restore order, we must first restore trust." Trust, however, is not easily rebuilt. Residents from South Central to East LA have expressed exhaustion with repeated calls for unity that honestly just fail to materialize into meaningful reform. Faith in local government and law enforcement remains fragile, and the widespread demand is not simply for peace, but for accountability, equity, and structural change. In the days ahead, public attention will likely shift to investigations, damage assessments, and political fallout. But for those who lived through the fear and fire of that night, the memory will persist, not just as a singular event, but as part of a larger narrative of struggle and survival in a city increasingly defined by its contradictions. Whether this moment becomes a catalyst for lasting change or just another entry in a long cycle of outrage and inaction, depends not on the headlines, but on what happens when the cameras leave and the real work begins.